Do you feel like your life is on pause? Are you wondering why doors aren't opening, why your prayers seem unanswered, or why every step forward feels like 2 steps back? What if I told you that everything you're going through, the setbacks, the rejections, the delays, are not signs of failure but part of a greater plan? Yes, God is working, even when you can't see it. And today, we're going to uncover why the challenges in your life might just be preparing you for something far greater than you ever imagined. Life is full of uncertainty. We plan, we dream, and we hope, but often the reality doesn't match our expectations. We face roadblocks, heartbreaks, and disappointments that leave us questioning everything. Why me? Why now? Why this? But here's the truth: God doesn't make mistakes. He sees the end from the beginning, and every single moment of your life is part of His divine plan. Even the pain, the waiting, and the uncertainty are preparing you for the destiny He's written just for you. Stay with me as we unpack this truth. By the end of this video, you'll see your struggles in a new light and discover how to embrace God's timing, even when it doesn't align with your own. The concept of divine timing. Let's start with a foundational truth: God's timing is not our timing. While we live in a world of instant gratification, where everything from food delivery to answers on Google happens in seconds, God operates on a completely different timeline. The Bible reminds us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." This means that every moment of our lives, both the joyful and the painful, has a purpose. But why does it feel so hard to trust that? It's because we only see part of the picture. Imagine you're looking at a massive tapestry, but all you can see is a single thread. That thread might seem random, out of place, or even ugly on its own. But when you step back and see the entire tapestry, you realize that thread was part of a beautiful, intricate design. God's plan works the same way. The delays, the closed doors, and the unexpected detours in your life are not random. They are part of the bigger picture He is weaving. A picture you can't fully see right now, but one that is leading you toward your destiny. Biblical example: Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace. One of the most powerful examples of divine timing in the Bible is the story of Joseph. At just 17 years old, Joseph had a dream that he would one day rule over his brothers. But instead of walking straight into that destiny, he was betrayed by those closest to him, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. For years, Joseph's life seemed like one setback after another. Imagine the doubts he must have faced. God, did I hear you wrong? Was the dream even real? Yet through it all, Joseph remained faithful. What Joseph didn't know was that every trial was a stepping stone toward his destiny. His time in Potiphar's house taught him leadership. His time in prison taught him humility and patience. And when the moment came, when Pharaoh needed someone to interpret his dreams, Joseph was ready. He went from the pit to the palace in a single day, but it took years of preparation to get there. The lesson here is clear: delays are not denials. They are God's way of preparing you for the weight of the blessings He's about to place on your shoulders. From setback to success. Now, let's bring this into the modern day. Have you ever heard of a successful person who didn't face setbacks? Whether it's an entrepreneur, an artist, or someone in your own life, their journey likely wasn't smooth. Think about Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. He failed over 1,000 times before he got it right. When asked about his failures, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." In the same way, your failures and setbacks are not wasted. They are lessons, building your resilience and preparing you for what's to come. Maybe you've been rejected from a job you desperately wanted. Maybe a relationship you thought was the one fell apart. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough that hasn't come yet. What if, instead of seeing these moments as obstacles, you saw them as opportunities? What if you trusted that God was redirecting you towards something better? Practical guidance: how to strengthen your faith in the waiting. Trusting God's plan isn't always easy, but it's essential. Here are 3 ways to strengthen your faith when life feels uncertain. 1. Stay anchored in prayer. Prayer is your direct line to God. It's where you can pour out your fears, doubts, and frustrations, and where He can pour His peace into you. Philippians chapter 4 verse 6-7 reminds us, "Do not be anxious about anything, But in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. When you feel overwhelmed, take it to God. He's not surprised by your struggles, and He's more than capable of carrying you through them. 2. Surround yourself with faithful community. Isolation is one of the enemy's greatest weapons. When we're alone, it's easier to give in to doubt and despair. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with people who will encourage you, pray for you, and remind you of God's promises. Proverbs chapter 27 verse 17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Your faith grows stronger when you're in community with others who are walking the same path. 3. Focus on God's promises, not your problems. It's easy to get caught up in what's going wrong. But instead of fixating on your circumstances, focus on God's promises. The Bible is filled with reminders of His faithfulness. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Romans chapter 8 verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Write these verses down. Memorize them. Speak them over your life when doubt tries to creep in. Breakthroughs come after the hardest battles. Here's the truth that so many people miss. The hardest battles often come right before the biggest breakthroughs. The enemy doesn't fight against you when you're standing still. He fights against you when you're moving toward your destiny. Think about David. He was anointed as king while he was still a shepherd boy, but before he could step into his calling, he had to face Goliath. That battle wasn't just about defeating a giant, it was about proving to himself, to Israel, and to the world that God was with him. In the same way, the battles you're facing right now are not meant to destroy you. They're meant to prepare you. They're meant to strengthen your faith, sharpen your skills, and position you for the blessings God has in store. Reflection. Embracing the journey, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the challenges you've faced, the moments when you felt like giving up, the times when you wondered if God was even listening. Now think about how far you've come. Even in the moments when you didn't realize it, God was working. He was closing the wrong doors so He could open the right ones. He was removing people from your life who couldn't go where He's taking you. He was building you into the person you need to be to fulfill the purpose He's placed inside you. Your destiny is waiting. So, what's the takeaway? It's this: your journey is not over. The struggles you're facing are not the end of your story, they're the beginning of something extraordinary. Trust that God is working, even in the silence. Trust that the delays, the setbacks, and the heartbreaks are part of His plan to lead you into your destiny. And trust that He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect and pray. Ask God to help you trust His timing and embrace His plan for your life. And if you're ready to walk into your destiny, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement. Your best days are ahead, and God is leading you every step of the way.